Goodness. This week it's all about flats fishing. We're fishing the Indian River Lagoon in Vero Beach. When you say flats fishing, probably what comes to a lot of people's mind is a shallow water skiff, a guy in the back on a poling platform poling across a white sandy shoreline in the Keys going for bonefish. But you know, there's so many different aspects to it, especially on the east coast of Florida. We're sitting here on the Indian River up in Vero, beautiful morning. You know, we're just getting out here on the flats, plugging away. Jim Bohr, you've been coming out here a bunch recently?
Yeah, I sure have.
Catching a variety, or what are we looking for?
It's been great. We got a grand slam here a couple of weeks ago. We've been doing great out here.
One flat can hold a bunch of different structure down there, right? There's oyster beds,
There's oyster beds here. There's grass. There's all kinds of structure. There's a washboard bottom here in some areas.
All right, well, we're gonna plug away, see what we can find. We're fishing with Jim Bohr. This is a neat guy. You know, he's 71 years old. He's super experienced at fishing. He grew up fishing and hunting, has a true passion for fishing, fishes 6 days a week. This guy fishes probably more than I do. And you can just tell he has a love for it. So we got the perfect combo here. I'm throwing a topwater plug, kind of more of a search bait. You know, get this Yozuri, I can throw it a far distance, cover a lot of water. Jim's following behind. He's got a soft plastic, you know, maybe for that less aggressive fish. A lot of times you'll get these reds that'll follow these plugs up, it just won't commit. Jim can fire right behind me though with that soft plastic. So we're just kind of trying to establish a pattern first thing here on the morning on the flats and try to figure out what they want, how they want it. Every day is different.
Get it up on that bar, bring it off that bar.
Yeah, I see that bar there. You can just see that water moving over that bar. The tide's falling. Look at all that bait right there on the tip of it, Jim. You're right in it now, buddy. The Indian River Lagoon system is a huge body of water, extending over 100 miles up the east coast of Florida. And it has a lot of shallow water that we call flats. This ranges from sand beds to turtle grass to eel grass to oyster beds. There's so many different areas that you can fish in this lagoon system. There he is.
Nice job. That's a nice fish. That's a good fish.
First thing in the morning.
That's a great job on the topwater though.
Yeah, it's sitting here in Vero.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Fishing the flats.
Nothing wakes you up better than a topwater bite.
This place is going off. First thing this morning, throwing a Yozuri, and it just got blown up on.
Oh, that's great. That puts a smile on your face.
Come back this way. I think that's a jack, though. What a bite! I don't think that first one was a. I don't think that first one was a.
Thanks. I don't think that
jack.
first one is a jack either.
Oh, first thing this morning, the Yozuri pencil. God. Let me grab that bad boy. This is the beast on the flats. I just had a red, I think, follow my plug, threw it back in there, and then this guy beat him to the chase. Look at that. Well, we're sitting here in Vero, first thing this morning, throwing top waters. Jim's got a jig on. You know, we're just gonna kind of run the gamut of these flats. There's so many different species out here. We're just gonna plug away and kind of get back to the basics of flat fishing. Jacks are mean. They just don't get the good rap that they deserve, probably because they're not edible, but as far as a pound for pound fish in the inshore waters of the Indian River Lagoon, you probably won't find a harder fighting fish. Oh, what a bite! God! What a take. I'm gonna power pull me down here.
I didn't see that, but I sure heard it.
You heard it, right?
Oh boy.
Sounded like somebody threw a cinder block
That was
in the water.
like music.
What do you got going on over there, Jim? You weaving the basket?
Listen.
Don't worry.
You
This will
better-
be my third fish. You keep weaving.
You better leave me alone.
Oh,
George
I've
tied
heard it
these
all
leaders
now.
up. I said I wanted to tie my own leader. He said, no, I'm going to tie it.
God.
And then the leader frays apart. And I know he did it on purpose. He did it on purpose.
These things just prey on these flats. I mean, just topwater, man, there's just nothing better. First thing in the morning, that Yozuri, new Inshore Series pencil. Little tip, grab the black buttons and hold them. They'll quit moving around. It's a great way to grab them. Just swipe across that, it's got him right in the throat. This little guy go here. Oh, cool.
Real-time Florida Sportsman is brought to you by Ray Marine. Don't just go fishing, go hunting underwater.
When you think of Fort Pierce, Vero Beach area, and the Indian River Lagoon, what I think of is big gator trout. The world record came from here, over 17-pound sea trout, which is a giant fish. These lush seagrass shorelines, these lush flats, this is why these big sea trout are here. You know, when you say flats fishing, you can mean a bunch of different things, you know, different type of bottom. What are we sitting on here? What is this? See right there.
And a typical flats area would have seagrass with some potholes in it. And these are great ambush places for the sea trout and the redfish.
So what you're saying is those fish actually just sit right there in those potholes and just wait for, you know.
These trout and the redfish will come out of the edges of them and come and that's where you get a lot of these hits. When the sun gets a little higher, you're able to see these potholes a lot easier.
And this area is known for its big trout, right? World record
really,
trout?
It's really known for the big trout. The world record came out of here not too many miles from here. It was 17 pounds, 6 ounces.
For a trout, a spotted sea trout.
Spotted sea trout, and
17 pounds.
We catch a lot of gator trout, which are over 6 pounds. We catch a lot of those on a regular basis here.
There he is, nice take.
That may be a trout.
Yeah, it's acting like one.
I don't think that's one of our monsters, but that's a beauty. They're all really pretty fish.
That's a respectable fish.
Beautiful fish on a topwater plug. Nothing better.
That's a pretty good one. First
Yes,
thing in
it
the morning.
is.
So this is a decent one, but they got a lot bigger ones around here.
Yes, there are, but that's a beauty.
Male, he's grunting away. That is a healthy looking trout right there. There he goes, there, right in the corner. Just working that plug right across that grass and boom. There's probably a bunch more with him. You're usually not alone.
The Atlantic spotted sea trout is one of the real treasures of Florida. It's a gorgeous fish. It's a real game fish, and it's something that's prized by everybody in Florida. So
well, I tell
this
you
is
what,
something we'd
Jim,
love to catch.
10 minutes, we've already got 2 different species, one for the slam. Just as much as the topography changes in the Indian River Lagoon system, so does the species of fish that we target. Typically we're targeting redfish, trout, snook, tarpon, you know, lots of jacks, ladyfish, snapper. There's so many different species that you can, you know, go after. But a lot of times when you're out on these flats, you really don't know what you're gonna be catching. What do you typically throw out here, Jim?
Well, you know, everybody says early morning is the time for the topwater. I typically catch my biggest fish on topwater plugs, but if you look back at the time on the pictures, it's usually between 10:30 and 2 o'clock, believe it or not.
Oh, isn't that crazy?
It is crazy, and I like to come out here in the morning and throw these shad tail jigs, and that lets me know if there's bait there. I like to get the tap, 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 and to see if the pinfish are there, the snapper.
I gotcha.
To let me know if there's bait fish or activity there. So that's typically what I do. And then when I see some fish start to feed on the top of the water, that's when I go to the topwater bait. But you've done well on the topwater this morning.
I might have it all backwards.
That's fun. I might have it all backwards. You know, I'm getting old and might be dyslexic, so.
You read it wrong. It works for you.
You know, just as long as I can get out here and go fishing, that's what makes me
true.
happy.
So you're getting out here.
Yeah.
You got an understanding wife at home, I'm imagining.
I really do, and that makes it possible for me.
Yeah.
It really does.
That's the catalyst for it. It can go one way or the other.
Yeah.
There he is. Follow behind me, you get the trout. That's right where I got popped. A lot of times you follow behind with that soft plastic. Want me to get him for you, Jim?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Thank you.
Little guy, little schoolie trout.
That's
a little
probably
scoop.
twice as big as yours, George.
Oh, that's a little schoolie. Are you kidding me? Camera don't lie. People are gonna know. That's great, little guy. You get into schools of these and there'd be a bunch of them piled up together, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Nice. We started out with a nice, beautiful sunrise, beautiful morning, and conditions deteriorated quickly. The rain moved in, and it just totally changed the whole pattern that we were on. The weather is definitely a factor fishing in Florida, and I think even more so when you're fishing the flats. You're affected by the wind, the rain, the barometer, and it seems like these factors play more of a role, especially in such shallow water. You know, you can have a nice calm flat, nice clean water, and the next thing you know, a breeze blows up and it actually just dirties the water, makes it totally murky, and that can totally change your pattern that you were just on. And you just have to be dynamic, you have to adapt with it, and sometimes it means totally changing the baits that you're using.
Real-Time Florida Sportsman is brought to you by Penn. Let the battle begin.
Out here flats fishing, we're utilizing the Topwater plug. A great thing about this on the flats is you can cover a lot of water. This is a great search bait. Day like today, when it's really windy, the water gets turbid, it's difficult to distinguish the different potholes. And you have to picture in your mind that this area is vast and it's spread out. There's a lot of different fish, but not always, bunched up together. A great bait like a Topwater plug, you can throw it a far distance, you can cover a lot of water, and you can really, just quickly fish the area. And once you find those fish, you can actually power pole down and take your time and thoroughly cover the area. There's a lot of trout in these same potholes as well. You get one, there's typically a lot more. These Topwater plugs are definitely a helpful tool on the flats. This Vero Beach area has tons of shoreline. When you think of flat, maybe you think of being out in the middle of nowhere, but in my mind, it's the same exact thing. You have these shallow bodies of water, these shallow flats that butt up to the shoreline, and a lot of the areas up here in Vero are filled with mangroves, and these are perfect spots for predatory fish. Come on. Come on. Ah, that's it. A little snook came out of that mangrove, boy. That plug's half the size of him. He didn't care. That's so cool. I watched him follow. I just kept the rhythm going. Look at that thing. It's like the size of him. Just searching around. I'm checking his Topwater right now. Yazuri pencil. Snook get on these flats as well. More times than not though, you're gonna find them along these mangrove shorelines, tied up to that structure. That's where they like to be, sitting, waiting, ambushing the bait as it goes by. Bait is such a key in any kind of fishing that you're doing, but even more so in flats fishing. You wanna be able to find those areas of bait. We were finding these big areas of large schools of mullet. And what most people don't realize is that not necessarily are the predatory fish feeding on those mullet, but more often than not, those schools of mullet are going through the grass, they're kicking up little shrimps, little crabs, and the predatory fish are with those same schools of mullet feeding below them. So it's always a great idea when you're looking for an area to fish, especially a new area, is to find these areas that are holding bait. Oh, you got a good one. Oh, I got one too. Oh, yours going one direction, mine's going the other. We just woke him up. Oh! Is that on your fish? Is that your fish?
Yeah.
What do you got?
I don't know.
Good size, whatever it is.
I don't know what it is.
We're both going that direction.
It's both going that direction.
Wow, we saw him busting out there, and we both pretty much got bit at the same time. That's the great thing when you come out here, you never know, you know? You
just never know.
Chuck that plug out there and you never know what you're gonna get. Talking to Jim, he wanted to use this real light line, and the reason for that is you get these really long casts. That's one of the beauties of flats fishing, is you can scale your tackle way back and have a really good time with any size fish out here. You start throwing 6 and 8 pound line on, you're gonna test your skills. I have 8-pound on. Jim has 6-pound. Oh, little 3500 slammer 3. Look at that bruiser.
Oh, it's an incredible game fish. Love to catch these jacks. Great fun.
Especially on 6-pound.
Can't beat it.
I still have mine out 50 yards. I'll get it in eventually.
Swam away.
Nice, good job.
I think you got the father to the one I caught.
He just inhaled that Yozuri pencil, man. Just poof. Saw him in there feeding on a big school of mullet, threw right in on that school and doubled up. Look how thick he is. That's just pure power. Mean.
What a great game fish.
Oh, they're awesome. They give you a battle, all the battle you need right there.
You're looking for a fight, they'll give it to you.
Real-time Florida Sportsman is brought to you by Eagle Claw Trocar, the sharpest fish hooks in the world.
It's pretty incredible when you get on these bodies of water, on these flats, whether it's out in the middle of nowhere or along these shorelines, and these schools of mullet are just getting annihilated by predatory fish, whether they're jacks or snook or redfish. All you see off in the distance is just 100 mullet showering at one time, coming out of the water, fleeing away from these big fish. It's an incredible sight to see. Jim, you gotta get in here. Look at him following me. Boy, they're fired up in here right now. I'm gonna power pole this down. Hot little corner. Got him? Good job. A good old trout you caught. Oh! Oh my goodness. Oh, come on. Look at a leaf, I'm all fouled up, he's still after it. So Jim, you live down in Stewart and you travel up here. 6 times a week, you were saying.
That's correct.
So, 45, 50-minute drive, what makes you come all the way up here versus the waters down there by you?
Well, I didn't used to have to do that, but as you know, we have those discharges coming out of Lake Okeechobee into our inlet and estuaries down there, and we have such a problem with our wonderful seagrasses that it's pretty much wiped them out, and it's really affected the fishery, and it's affected the fishing business. The retailers there, and guides like yourself,
Yep. And
hard.
you really need this grass, especially the type of fishing that you're doing.
Happy to see some of the seagrasses coming back up here.
Yeah,
I think
good.
that's why we're finding some fish, because we've got some manatee grass coming back, and I see some turtle grass coming back. So I'm really happy about that.
This is a pretty area for sure.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Come on, I got a big red.
You got him?
I got a
Let me
big
try to
red.
double up.
Nice. We may have to follow this one.
Take your time with him. Wow, that's a big fish, Jim.
It's pretty. Look at the colors on this. Just gorgeous.
There's a whole school of them sitting in here. We've been searching for them all morning. Wow. Out here in the middle of the flat, you can really scale it back. That's like a 2,000 size pen. You said you could bring that light tackle out here and make the long cast that you need to these schools of fish. There was a wad of these that just swam by.
Well, he sure looks pretty in that water. Look at the color on this fish.
That is a big one. On that Gozdz, huh?
Ah, look at this. Look at the color on this fish.
On the Gozdz.
Ah, thank you, George.
Look at him, listen to him drumming. Look how dark he is. He's orange. Look at it's just copper, kind of gold, almost orange colored. There's a whole school of these swimming around right now. Jim threw that topwater plug to him. We've been getting a bunch of jacks, but finally rewarded with that red that we were looking for. God, look at these colors. Flats fishing in Florida is the most popular type of saltwater fishing out there, and probably because it's so accessible. Whether you're wade fishing, out in a kayak, a canoe, a flats boat, a bay boat, it doesn't matter. You can all access the same water and target the same type of species. Fishing the flats of Vero, we utilize a variety of techniques and caught a variety of species. And you know, that's what a day on the water is all about. There's so many different species out here, we're just gonna plug away and kind of get back to the basics of flat fishing. I didn't get hit in the face, dude. Slap me. Tail slap. I definitely took one to the face. It was like first thing in the morning, too. Oh,